So I'm making this video as a response to a comment that I made. And I was asked a question. I commented on it, but I also thought that it'd be a good idea to make a video on it, just so that um, if anybody needs to know, that they can know. And the comment was asking whether they can achieve the things I talk about while on medication. And now, if you listen to my channel, you know that I talk about how it's possible to recover from schizophrenia beyond medication, right? And to totally cure yourself, which is said to be impossible, at least through medication that we have today. But I feel that we don't need medication in a sense, or at least to achieve recovery, but we do need it if we don't have the understanding, right? Because it does provide some relief for some people. So um, I made a video titled Schizophrenia and Encouraging Medication, the Barrier from the Storm, which I talked about medication being a sort of barrier from the elements, right? That kind of keeps you sheltered, gives you some layer of protection. And so this person who has responsibilities, they can't just stop taking their meds and go off the deep end. They have a child, um, and maybe in a relationship, I don't know, but um, it'd be irresponsible to willingly put yourself in a situation where uh, people who depend on you can't depend on you anymore. And I think it's also would be harmful to you as well, because you're going to feel like a failure, right? Once they put you in meds, you come back to yourself, you're going to feel like you failed your family, you feel that people depend on you. And so it's a lot to go through, and it's going to make things worse for you going forward. So and I talked about that in that video. But so I responded that medication is like a safety net, right? And so when you see somebody who does tightrope walking, right, they usually the great ones perform it without a safety net, but they practice with a safety net, right? Because there are challenges that you have to master before you go and just do it. uh, there is certain body positioning, how you distribute your weight, and then you're going to think about any surprises you may encounter, anybody shouting, any kind of anything going on where security might be involved. You really have to be prepared for any level of stress and still complete it without falling. So it's very requires a lot. But when you have a safety net, you can do all your preparations and prepare you for that big day. And recovering from schizophrenia outside of medications is it's like a tightrope walk over a pit of fire, right? It's a raging inferno pretty much. And is very dangerous. You see a lot of people stop taking their meds and they end up falling, getting consumed by the flames, by the symptoms, and then they lose themselves because the pain is too much, and they end up just going you know end up back in the hospital because they totally lose their minds. And that's what happens when you're in that level of pain. You don't care about how people are looking at you or this and that. You're just going to express pain in the way it comes, right? And that's what schizophrenia it kind of does. It brings out this honest expression of what you're feeling. But it's good if you do that. When you have a medication, you can learn to manage the I want to say it's easier to do battle, as I said in the comment. It's easier to do battle with one or two demons than a whole horde of demons, you know. um, because you have medication doesn't cure you. Sometimes there's still breakthrough symptoms, and now if you learn how to handle those while on medication, then it can give you the same effects, the same benefits, right? And you can learn how to take that stand, as opposed to just stopping medication and then that barrier is gone and you just get overwhelmed with everything at once, and now you don't know what the heck to do, right? I think that, yeah, it's definitely possible to stop, or to achieve these things that I talk about while on medication. I think is good. I think it's responsible thing to do. Uh, I stopped without medications, but uh, I stopped my medications, but I had an understanding. And I knew what I was doing. I knew that I would not fall back, and that's the difference. Like, a lot of people are just, you know what I mean. Like, you can't just try it. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna," and that's the problem. Sometimes people feel uh, they feel good and they feel like they're ready, and then sometimes they stop, but the medications are still in their system, and they go, and then when the levels drop of the meds, then they get bombarded, and then they just break. They never had the resolve. They never had the conviction, and so you have to really think about what it is that's coming at you, how it's coming at you. You study yourself. You learn how your mind works. You learn how you become the observer. You watch the fear creep up. You watch the thought process. You don't get consumed by it. You learn to just watch it and recognize that it's separate from you, and you don't have to go in the direction that they want to lead you in. So if you can do this while on meds, it gives you an insight into who you are and how you can tame those strong negative emotions, right? And so anyway, I'm gonna make this video short, but that's kind of what I think about that, and hopefully it helps some of you. I'm not in a hospital, by the way. I know somebody asked me about that. I'm in a work camp. I stated in my first video here. This is my room. This is my bed. This is my washroom. My towels there because I got a shared washroom. The person's on the other side. They work on a night shift though, so this kind of sucks, but it is what it is. 14-7. I'm going home tomorrow, which is Thursday, 17th, and this it's my some of the people that's on the other side there. So it's just a work. But yeah, and this is where the understanding brought me, where I haven't fallen back in that since I left. Right, the symptoms never went away. In fact, when I stopped meds, everything increased, or at least when I. It's not that it increased. It's just it never nothing left, right? And it reminds me of when I was in that psychotic phase. It's when I made that this determination. It's like, you have the highs and the lows, and it's like when I made that declaration, things went high, right? Because when you decide to do something great, when you decide to challenge these things, believe me, there's going to be a challenge coming at you to see what you're made of. Do you really believe that you're going to get out of this, right? All the guards are going to come and they're going to do whatever they can to beat you back into submission, right? So that's kind of what happened to me once I stopped, and once I determined I'm not going back. I'm not going to go back to psychos. I'm not going to go back to trying to kill myself. I'm done. See, then what happens is everything went on high, and I had to. I didn't fall back. I didn't, because of understanding. That's why I stress you got to understand, and and you got to calm down. got to start to think, and you got to start to be strategic. So, which is what, thank you, Lauren, for asking a question, because it's very, it's a good thought process. Be strategic, right? You gotta think, and you gotta make moves that's gonna give you the best success. And so, having a safety net, it's good, um, until you can build up the resilience, build up the understanding that's necessary, and then you can kind of go forward from there. So, yeah, hopefully that helps.